Daniel Miller, a former Marine living deep in the Montana wilderness, was repairing a snow-damaged fence when his German Shepherd, Moose, froze mid-step, ears stiff, then bolted toward an abandoned forest road. Daniel followed, pushing through the rising wind, and found an SUV hanging halfway over a cliff, one wheel dangling in the void. Beside it, a young woman sobbed in the snow, unable to stand, whispering a story that didn't match the fear in her eyes. As the storm gathered fury around them, Daniel felt the truth settle like ice in his gut. Something far more dangerous than the blizzard had followed her into these woods. Before we start, please support us by subscribing to the channel. The rescue. The blizzard swallowed sound and distance as 37-year-old Daniel Miller stepped onto his remote cabin porch. Combat in Fallujah had carved hardness into him, while the loss of his younger brother pushed him toward silence. The forest was the only place where the noise inside him could escape. Beside him, Moose padded into the snow, a 4-year-old German Shepherd with gray-white fur resembling a timber wolf. Sharp amber eyes missed nothing. The two shared an unspoken bond stitched together by solitude. Then a faint crackle drifted from Daniel's emergency radio. "Help! Vehicle! Off the road! Someone, please!" The transmission broke into static. Moose's head snapped toward Daniel, ears pricked. A deep, instinctive growl. Something is wrong. Daniel grabbed his parka. Truck, Moose. After 15 agonizing minutes through disappearing roads, they reached a narrow logging path. There, a dark SUV, nose buried in a drift, one rear tire hanging frighteningly close to a cliff edge. Moose leapt out first, barking sharply. Daniel yanked the passenger door open. Inside sat a woman, around 30, with chestnut brown hair frozen to her pale cheeks. Her wide hazel eyes darted with desperation. I'm Emily Carter," she stammered, clutching her ankle. "I got lost. My GPS died. I hurt my leg. I can't walk. I'm a travel blogger." Daniel didn't fully believe the story. Her clothes were too clean. But he wasn't about to interrogate a half-frozen woman on a cliff. The wind slammed the SUV, making it rock dangerously. "Moose, back," Daniel commanded. He slid an arm under Emily's knees and another behind her back. She was lighter than expected, rigid from cold and pain. "Please don't let me fall." "You won't," he said simply. Moose trotted ahead, guiding them. The storm tried to shove them sideways, but Daniel pushed through with grim determination. Behind them, the SUV groaned, shifted, and slid another inch toward the abyss. The lie. Inside the cabin, heat from the cast-iron stove washed over them. Daniel set Emily in a sturdy wooden chair near the hearth, brought her dry clothes, and placed a steaming bowl of stew beside her. Emily forced a weak laugh. "I usually travel for work, write about scenery, small towns, places like this." It was almost true. Almost. Moose shifted, exhaling heavily, as if unimpressed. When Daniel stepped outside to split firewood, Emily crouched beside her backpack and unzipped it. Out spilled the truth. A laminated ID badge. Emily Carter, environmental risk analyst, Carter Timber Corporation, a satellite phone, and maps marked with potential access roads. Her father's corporation had eaten vast swaths of forest across several states. Her assignment to Montana was simple: determine if their next expansion could push into this protected national forest. This forest, the one Daniel cared for, the one Moose guarded. Emily's stomach twisted. Moose rose quietly and padded toward her. He placed his head close to her knee and sniffed, eyes warm but probing, as though absorbing her guilt. She stroked his head, tentative, unworthy. How could he trust her when she could barely trust herself? The discovery. By the third morning, the storm still raged. Daniel moved through the cabin with quiet purpose, chopping wood, clearing paths for Moose. One afternoon, he built a rough wooden ramp so Emily could get fresh air. "Now you can get outside," he said simply. No one in Emily's world, full of polished smiles and hidden knives, had ever built something for her with their own hands. The gesture felt too pure for the lie she held. That night, believing Emily asleep, Daniel stepped into his bedroom. Emily opened her eyes. The weight of the lie pressed so hard she felt she might choke. She whispered to herself, "Just stretch. Just 5 minutes of being yourself." She stood and felt relief bloom in her uninjured ankle. She paced the kitchen, savoring the freedom she had stolen from herself. Moose lifted his head, tail thumping. Then came the sound that ruined everything, a glass clinking, a heavy footstep, a door opening, a flashlight beam slicing through the cabin. Daniel stood in the hall, eyes cold as storm gray, locked onto Emily, standing tall, unharmed, fully capable. Moose barked once, a joyous, triumphant note. But the bark struck Daniel differently. It cracked something inside him. Every memory flashed, lifting her from the SUV, steadying her on the porch, sawing wood in the freezing storm for a ramp she didn't need. "Daniel, please, I can explain." "You don't need to," he said, voice like ice. "I get it now." His shoulders rigid. "You turned my home into a stage. You used my dog as your audience, whatever game this was." He shook his head. "Not here." The helicopter. Morning came hard and cold. Daniel tossed the wooden ramp into a snowdrift without a word. Then the earth trembled. A low metallic roar moved across the treetops. From the sky emerged a sleek charcoal black helicopter, bold white letters, Carter Timber. Daniel's grip on his shovel tightened. Out stepped Mark Davis, late 30s, dark hair sculpted by expensive gel, black wool coat tailored razor sharp. His expression, entitlement and boredom. "Well," Mark announced, adjusting silver-framed glasses. "This is more primitive than I imagined." Moose stepped closer, ears stiff in suspicion. Emily emerged from the cabin, exhaustion etched across her face. Mark spread his arms theatrically. "Emily Carter, your little wilderness cosplay has gone on long enough. Your father wants you back. We have contracts to finalize, roads to approve." "Mark, stop." But he didn't. He stepped toward her, reaching for her wrist. Moose lunged forward, not violently but decisively, placing his body between Emily and Mark. A deep growl thundered from his chest. Mark stumbled back. "Control your animal!" Daniel didn't move. Arms crossed, expression carved from stone. "He's doing fine." Emily stepped toward the helicopter, not because Mark commanded it, but because she had already made her decision. "I'll go," she said softly. She climbed in without looking back at Daniel, not because she no longer cared, but because if she met his eyes, her courage might snap. The redemption. Back in the city, Emily did what Mark never imagined. She killed the contract. Her cold, precise report argued the ecosystem was too delicate, its wildlife corridor irreplaceable. She filed a proposal to designate the land as a protected reserve. She arranged a transfer, paying off the entire debt on Daniel's cabin. Before signing, she turned to her assistant, Lydia. "Order a red rubber ball, the strongest one for large shepherd breeds. Send it with the documents. No note, except..." Emily hesitated, heart aching. "Just for Moose, who trusted me when I didn't deserve it." 3 days later, Daniel opened his mailbox. Letter from the bank, mortgage paid in full. The red ball sat beside it, bright as a wound. His anger exploded first, hot, defensive. He felt bought, pitied, stripped of dignity. But that rage dissolved when he opened the folder of unpaid notices. The truth stared back. He'd been days away from losing the cabin. He sank into his chair, breath trembling. Moose nudged the red ball against his boot, tail swinging, as if reminding him, "The world isn't ending. I'm still here." The return. Weeks later, an old blue Ford pickup appeared at the bend of the road, battered, rusted, tied together with rope and determination. Out stepped Emily Carter. But not the Emily he remembered. She wore worn denim tucked into scuffed hiking boots, a thick charcoal sweater, brown hair and a loose ponytail. Her face, free of cosmetics, looked real. Daniel approached slowly, hammer in hand. "If you came to talk about money, save your breath." "I didn't give you money. I removed the bank's hand from your throat." Her voice was soft but steady. "The logging project is gone. Terminated. The forest is on track to be designated a protected reserve." Moose lifted his head, ears high. "I quit the company 2 weeks ago. I'm working for a conservation nonprofit now. Less boardroom, more dirt under my nails." Daniel studied her carefully. "So why come back?" Emily swallowed. "I came to see Moose." The dog's ears shot up, tail thumping, then exploding into rapid, joyful beats. He bolted across the yard, a blur of gray fur and flying mud. Emily barely had time to brace before Moose crashed into her. She toppled to her knees, laughter breaking from her chest as tears spilled down her face. Moose bounded away, returning with the red rubber ball. Dropping it into her lap, he nudged it insistently, offering forgiveness in the only language he knew. Daniel felt something profound loosen inside him, like river ice cracking under the first warm breath of spring. He set the hammer down. "Come inside. You'll freeze out here." Emily rose slowly. Moose pranced between them, tail wagging triumphantly. They walked toward the cabin, Daniel on one side, Emily on the other, Moose weaving joyfully through the space between them. Beyond the clearing, the forest waited, thawing, alive, humming with the promise of protection and renewal. Sometimes the greatest miracles don't arrive with thunder or lightning. They come quietly, through a loyal dog who refuses to give up on you, through forgiveness that melts a winter no one else can see, and through two broken people brave enough to take one more step toward hope. God often works in the small things, a red ball, a second chance, a softened heart. His grace threads itself through our days in ways we don't recognize until we look back. Just like Daniel, Emily, and Moose discovered, healing begins when we choose trust over fear, kindness over pride, and truth over the comfortable lie. If this story touched your heart, reminded you of God's steady hand, or made you believe once again that loyalty and redemption still exist, please share this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. May God bless you and your family. May He walk beside you through every storm, and may you always find the courage to follow the path He places before you.